We're starting here. Right behind me is going to be our new practice putting green. And as we go through the tour, you're going to get a chance to see greens at different states of construction. So this one is about halfway done. We start out by shaping the green to its finished grade, and then we come in and we core out, we dig out the green, then we dig trenches, we add gravel and drain pipe, and then they put in a 4-inch layer of gravel, and they put in a 12-inch layer of sand. So here you can actually see the green in different stages. So you can see the area closest to us, we've shaped it, we've cored it out, we've put in the gravel and the drain pipe, but we haven't put in the 4 inches of gravel yet. Up above, they've added the gravel. Okay? As we go through the tour, you'll see different greens, some of which we've just shaped and we haven't even cored out yet. And you'll see others that we've gone all the way through this process and we've already put the sand in. Okay? This green, this practice putting green, this area closest to us right here is quite flat. So if you're just coming out to play around a golf, odds are you'll do your practice putting down here. But you can see it extends all the way up towards the silt fence. So if you want to come and have a little 9-hole putting match with your son or daughter, or your grandson or granddaughter, you'll be able to kind of create a putting course here as well. And if you look really closely, it goes around the corner. This green actually connects to the 18th green. So it's kind of like a big horseshoe, and you see where those pipes are laying. That's a big giant bunker in between the two that serves as a buffer. Okay? So we are going to walk, all of these pieces of equipment are parked on what will be number 1 tee. We're going to walk just in front of those. We'll look at number 1, and then we're going to walk out towards the right side of Roger's shop, and we'll look at hole number 8. Again, we'll walk quickly to keep this thing moving. As we stop, we can ask a couple of questions at each spot. So any questions before we get on our way? All right, and then you can see where these little red flags are. That's the edge of the green. They're going to come in and they're going to core this thing out, take all this material out of here. They're going to dig the trenches. They're going to put the gravel in, the pipes in, the gravel layer, and the sand. And then when we get further on the tour, you'll see it with the sand in it. But this is what it looks like after we shape it and we review it and we talk about all the little undulations on the green and whether it's 2.6% or 3.2%. And then the really neat thing is once we get it to where we like it, they actually set up a scanner and they scan this whole green, and so they have a file of what all the undulations are so they know exactly how to put it back. And Roger works with them to tell them how much sand he wants underneath each portion of the green. So it's a really fun process, but here you can get a sense of what the contours of the green will ultimately be. Okay, so we are now standing on what is going to be the back tee for hole number 8. Now this is one of the new holes on the golf course. If you remember, this zone was just filled with eucalyptus trees. This was the dumping ground for the area. So we'll walk past it in a minute, but number 7 is on the other side of Roger's shop. You're going to walk around behind Roger's shop. As you walk from 7 to 8, you'll have a chance to look down at 16 and see where the flag's going to be on that hole. And then you're going to walk around the corner and hopefully get the big reveal of the bay, and hopefully everybody can see the San Francisco skyline back there. If you look, we've put a flag out there where the green is, the white flag. So that's where the green is. So this is a very long par 3. This is our longest par 3. So from back here, it's about 260. And then if you look where all the debris is and where all the concrete is and moving forward, those are all going to be tees. So we'll have a tee that's 100 yards as well. So we'll go from 100 yards back to 260. Wow. But if you're playing the right tee, you should be using a fairway wood or a very long iron. Okay? If you look at that green, it's set up as a pad. There's still plenty of work to do between here and the green. the big side slope below and to the left of the green, we're going to put bunkers in there to kind of save your ball from going to a worse fate. And if you look to the right of the green, you'll see a big hillside. So while the green feels like a small target, there's 20 yards to the right of the green that if you hit the ball, it's going to feed it onto or close to the green. Okay, so the target might look small, but it should play bigger. Okay. I never really have a favorite. I like them all for different reasons, but this one's been fun to watch the transformation, and hopefully people will get excited about this one. This is one that people will take pictures of and get excited about. Okay, so from this spot we can see a few different things. The flag to the left is going to be number 1 green. The flag to the right is going to be number 17 green. You can see this is an area we're still doing earthwork, so for number 1 green, that's going to keep coming up. There's probably 4 feet of fill left to go. 17 probably has 2 to 3 feet left to go. Over your right shoulder, you'll see the flag for number 7 up high on the hill up there. Okay, so you'll finish there. You'll walk along the edge behind Roger's shop to number 8 tee. Okay, we are going to walk down in front of 17 green and then over, and we'll look at hole number 2, which is a little further along in the process. Okay, 17 will be very similar, but the main tee box is going to be much shorter, kind of where the front of the tee boxes were before. So when you come through the gap on 16, you're going to pop out at the main part of the tee box. We want number 17 to be more of a wedge do or die par 3 late in the round. We will keep the back tee so that for the club championship they can use it. You'll have your scorecard yardage, but on a day-to-day basis we'd like that to be a short iron do or die par 3. This is one of the holes. There's about 9 holes on the golf course that are going to feel very, very similar. They'll start and finish in the same place. We're just kind of working on the details. So this hole's a little bit further along. If you look and you see these little red flags, that's where they've come through and they're going to put a sprinkler head. That's laid out for irrigation. Okay, if you look up ahead at the green, you can see up on the top of the hill, this green has been built, cored out, shaped, cored out, put the drainage trenches in, put the pipe in, put the gravel in, and put the sand in. So almost all of the greens construction is done. Once they get the irrigation and the drainage in around the green, then we will come back in and finish it and tidy it all up and make it look perfect ahead of grassing. But here you'll at least see kind of all the steps of building the green have taken place. What you'll notice as you look up there is we've adjusted the bunker pattern. So here you've got the big bunker short left. That is a bunker you'll see off the tee on this hole. You'll also see it from the clubhouse. So when you're at the clubhouse, you'll be able to look all the way down number 1, all the way down number 2, and you'll see that bunker. So as we've been crafting that bunker, we've been looking at it from here, we've been looking at it from the clubhouse, trying to make sure that it looks really cool. We'll have a bunker kind of in the back left of the green, but everything left of the green will be fairway. So there won't be a bunker left of the green, there'll just be a nice big fairway slope. So left of the green, you'll have a big fairway slope that you can use that'll feed the ball onto the green, and short right of the green, that'll all be fairway too. Okay, so if you miss it a little right, and you miss it a little short, you'll be in fairway short right of the green. Okay, so there's more of a bailout over there. But the best place to play would be kind of at the left edge of the green, and then the slope will feed it towards the middle. The question is, what is the grassing scheme between the fairway and some of the natural areas here, like the creek where the oak tree is? So our fairways are going to be Bermuda grass, and those are going to be sodded. And then we'll have an area of what looks like traditional rough. That's going to be fescue grass that's seeded. So that might be 1.5 to 2 inches tall. And then outside of those areas will be fescue that we let grow and feels more like a native grass. So it might be 12 to 18 inches tall, and it'll go off color throughout the year. So it will vary in certain spots as to whether or not there's, 20 feet of traditional rough grass or where the actual tall grasses come in. But in general, once we get close to out of play areas, we'll transition to that kind of native grass. I think the old green was 6 to 7% throughout most of it. In general, you want to have your pins at a slope that are under 3%. So this was a very, very challenging one for Roger and his team to find hole locations on. So you'll get to see it when we're up there. I haven't been up there in a couple of days, so it might not be floated out, but in general, we're going to have a lot of slopes that are 2 to 3%, and then we'll have certain portions of the green that are a transition slope that are 5 or 6, but much more gentle than the old one. Lots of the teeing grounds are going to be extensions of the green surround, so the green surround will flow right into the teeing ground. You'll notice most of our holes are open in front, so that if you can't hit it high and land it soft, you can bounce it in. So in a perfect world, we would like the golf course to play firm and fast. This site is very steep, like the old number 8. You could hit the ball on the right-hand side and it would go all the way across down over the left-hand side. We've been working hard to try to get the grades so that something like that won't happen, but we do want the ball to bounce and roll. The key is, what you don't want is you don't want it to be really soft in front of the green and then on the green to be really firm. If the firmness between the approach and the green matches, that's a good condition. The green edge where you guys are all standing, this is all fairway. Again, so there's an opportunity to hit it here and let the land take it down to the green. So while the green might be fairly small, the usable space is much bigger, right? And then you can see short and right of the green. Again, that will all be fairway. So you've got a little kind of collection spot there, just short right. Another one a little further down the hill. And then if you look behind the green, between the green and the path, there's probably 15 yards, 10, 15 yards, and that's all fairway too. And that kind of ramps up a little bit. So because it's a tougher approach shot, you're hitting way up the hill, you can see this is fairly friendly. The green is pretty simple. There's not a lot of undulation in the green, and most of the areas around the green are friendly, helping you get towards the green. The question was, compared to the old golf course, will the greens be bigger or smaller? We don't know till we're done. We're kind of building each one as we go. But in general, the old golf course had small greens, and the new golf course will have small greens. The difference will be that hopefully the area around the green will be a lot more playable. We'll have more fairway area, we'll have more feeder slopes, things like that. The other noticeable difference is, even if the square footage of the green is similar to the old one, we might have more usable space on the green. So this is a great example where the old green, might not be accurate, but let's say it was 5,000 square feet, you might have only had 1,000 square feet that were truly pinnable, whereas now if the green is 5,000 square feet, you might have 3,500 square feet that's pinnable. Yeah. And our goal, as Roger alluded to, is we want to strike the right balance where we'd love for you to be able to use every club in your bag within 30 yards of the green. So if you miss the green by 20 yards and you're somebody who's great putting, we'd like that to be an option for you. If you're somebody who's good with the sand wedge or a hybrid or a 7-iron, we want those to be an option too. You go to some golf courses and they mow it so tight that you really can only putt. And you go to other golf courses where they keep it fairly shaggy and you have to chip all the time. So we're trying to strike the right balance where you can kind of play any type of shot. So the question is, how long after we open for play before the NCGA rates the golf course? They will do a preliminary rating before the course opens. So when you open, you will have a rating. And then they will collect scores. I don't know if they do it for 1 year or some period of time, will collect data, and then they will come out and they will reassess. Okay, so we're now standing on number 3 tees. This is maybe the middle tee. There's some back tees behind us. There'll be another tee in front of us here, and there'll be another tee where the old 5 green was. Okay, so again, lots of different teeing grounds.
Nothing up here?
This is gonna, nope, that goes away. This is gonna be a par 5. If you look in the distance, you'll see the light gray, that's the sand in the green. So that's where the green is, okay? If you look maybe 100 yards past where the guys in the orange vests or the yellow vests or shirts are, you'll see some bunkers. There's a bunker on the left, a big bunker on the left. There's 2 bunkers on the right. That's kind of the fairway landing area. Okay, so that's where, if you're playing the appropriate tee, your tee shot should end up somewhere around those bunkers. So if you're a big hitter, you can try to go over the left bunker and get it way down there. If you're not as big a hitter, you might want to aim at the ones on the right and let the land kick it around the bunker on the left. So that's the first landing area. And then the second landing area is there kind of short and left of the green. And then the third shot is up into the green. One of the things that we're very excited about this hole, obviously we were able to get rid of a lot of those old eucalyptus trees on the right, so hopefully the whole corridor just feels a lot better. But if you look up in the distance, they've got some equipment up there. That is number 4, and that's going to be a par 3. But when you're playing hole 3, not only will you get to see all of hole 3, but you'll also get to see the bunkers up on hole 4, and we think that's going to be a really pretty view as you stand here and progress through the hole. Yeah, the question was, what was the reasoning behind switching these 2 holes that used to be par 3, par 5 to par 5, par 3? There were a few different things. One thing was the original plans for the golf course showed it as playing par 5, then par 3. So we thought that would be a neat little tip of the cap to the history of the golf course. The other was just how things fit the land. So the little par 3 here wasn't too bad. The 6th hole was, in my opinion, quite weak. It moved from left to right. The land was moving from right to left. The eucalyptus down the side. It was a very awkward hole. By switching this, we feel that these 2 holes can fit the land much better. So there's probably about 4 or 5 distinct hole locations that you can have on this green. So there's a front left just beyond Roger. There's a front right kind of where the flag is laying over there. There's a back right just in front of those red flags. There's a middle left right in front of me, and there's a back left back here. So even though there's plenty of contour, there's lots of interesting hole locations. From a strategy standpoint, you can see the green complex here. If you lay up to the left, then you're going to have to deal with this bunker that's right over here. You're going to have to hit over that bunker. If you choose on your second shot to be riskier and to play down the right, and there was a little bunker to play over, so if you take on that risk on the second shot, you will be rewarded. You won't have anything to hit over on your third shot. Okay, so hopefully there's a lot to think about off the tee, on your second shot, and around the green. So number 4 is going to be the first hole that we actually finish. So this is the one that's furthest along. You'll see that the green has the sand in it. They've put some fairway drainage in. You'll see the drainage trenches up there. And they just started yesterday doing what we call the finish work on the bunkers. So they've come in and they've come with shovels and they've edged the bunkers, they've cleaned up the floors of the bunkers, so they're just doing their finish work. So this is the one that's furthest along. You'll get a sense of what that looks like before we clean it all up and get it ready for grassing. Okay? All of the bunkers are going to get at least a couple rings of fescue sod, but for example, this bunker that is short left of the green, the fairway will go right into the leading edge. There will be that little strip of fescue sod, but that will mow down to fairway height. So on many of the leading edges, the fairway will go into the bunker, but the top side of it will have a little eyebrow to it. Many times it'll be traditional rough. There might be a few spots where we let it get a little hairy. There are 4 bunkers on this. When you play this hole, because it is fairly severe uphill, you're going to have to add maybe 10 yards. You will see the middle of the green. You won't see the left third of the green, and you won't see the right third of the green. Ironically, the left side of the green is kind of a little bowl. Now there's a bunker in front and there's bunkers behind, but the green itself is kind of a bowl. So that might be a little easier. The right side is also a bowl with a big fairway bailout area to the right. So even though when you're on the tee you can see the middle of the green might actually be the hardest hole location. This one, when you're on a back tee, will look like it's at the edge of the green, but it's actually 20 to 30 yards short of the green, okay? And what we're going to have in terms of a path here, the path will come up the left side of the tees, and then you'll drive across the fairway, and you'll pick up the path by that orange fence, and then you'll take it up the hill, and you can see number 5 tee at the top of the hill. So if you remember, with the old 6, the green was in the same spot, but you finished and you walked 200 yards back to 7. You played 7, you walked 200 yards back up to the top of the hill to keep going. Now you just finish and you get up to the top of the hill. So we saved 350 or 400 yards of walking. Yeah, the trees that we are removing on the golf course have been removed. So what you see is scheduled to stay. Over time, we may choose to remove more eucalyptus. If there's a tree that over time becomes dead, dying, or dangerous, we'll remove those. But by and large, the trees that have been removed are the ones that will be removed. Yeah, we will be planting trees. We may transplant trees. We've got a number of oaks. Roger's been cultivating oak saplings for many years, so there will be tree planting. Most of those will be at the edges of the property.